Part 7. I'm going to be showing you how to make a complex machine, and for my example for the complex machine I am going to show you guys how to make a catapult. So first thing I'm going to start off with is creating a solid floor. So we got a surface to work with, and the first thing we're going to need is a long arm for the catapult. So a nice long thin rectangle for our catapult arm. I'm going to move that back a little bit and up. So make sure it's on the blue axis so you know it's going up. If you're having trouble going there, you can actually hit the up arrow on the keyboard and it'll lock to that, much as if I hit the right arrow, it gets stuck on the red line, and the left arrow up and ends up on the green line, regardless of where I'm moving the mouse. So that's how you lock the direction in which you want to go. The next thing we're going to have to build is our little crux here, so that actually holds our munition. And I'm going to make a little log or cylinder. That's what I'm going to be throwing. I'll make it a little bit bigger. Now, this little crux here keeps it from flying up and off the edge. So I'm going to group these two together, and what's nice about grouping smaller objects like this for our complex object is it retains this divot without having to use static mesh. So that way we can have a complex shaped object that still moves around. The next thing we're going to need is a weight. So I'm going to move over so we can see a little bit better using the pan tool, and draw myself a block. Then I'm going to move this block up, so I'm going to select somewhere in the middle of this, about there. Doesn't have to be exact. Good eyeballing skills will get you a long way sometimes, or sometimes a very short way. And then, because I want a higher speed on my end here, I'm going to actually use like a quarter of the lever here and draw my hinge across the top. And when drawing hinges, the direction of your line shows like through the middle. So if you were looking at like a door hinge, and you'd want the door hinge drawn in Google SketchUp to be up and down on the blue axis, since the door goes up and down, bends around. It's kind of like the nails in the hinge. Down here we want this to go across, and if we did it right, we should have a little arrow going around the edge. And then I need another one over here, so I'm just going to go across here. Got my another circle, so it's going around that line. And that's how Google SketchUp knows what direction you want the hinge to go around in, because I could have this swing around in a circle. Not that that would be very helpful for this. Then again, we got to attach all of our hinges to the objects that we want them to affect. So I need my joint connector. I'm going to hold Control, click on that, click on the joint, and we also want this connected to this joint. Then we want this connected to this. Now our problem is it doesn't move anywhere. Our box down here we can waggle back and forth, but this whole entire thing doesn't move because two hinges stuck around it. So there's a trick to fool sketchy physics into working with this. So we take this, our weight and our hinge up here using our selector tool, and we make a group. Now when we hit play, it drops down and flings our munition across the field. Let me move into a better spot so we can see that better. And hit play. Oh, I still can't see the top. So we got this as our play field. So now we're going to want to be able to knock something over, because having a catapult's nice, but having something to knock over is a little bit better. So I'm going to make this easy on myself, so I'm going to make a nice thin wall and make it a bunch of sections, and then using the move control trick, I'm going to just copy a whole bunch of these. Click on the corner so I got something to match up with. And one of the things that SketchUp does is if you're on the corner of an object, it'll lock to it. So makes it pretty quick for making a multitude of anything. So now I'm going to hit play, and hopefully this will work the first time. But probably not going to work the first time. So there's some tricks to get this to work. So what we can do is actually scale up the bottom weight here. And to scale something in Google SketchUp, we hit the S button. Now I can just make my weight bigger and heavier, because size matters in SketchUp. So now I hit play. It whales it at it. Still doesn't knock it down. So it's at least the size of my munition, so scale that. See how that works. There we go. Now I have a hole in the castle. So that's how to make a SketchUp and complex objects. So with this kind of concept, you can start making things like pistons for a car engine, or like a steam engine or something, or like power drills, or any sort of kind of thing that you can even imagine.